Well, thanks.
I am doing slightly better than Duck by the sounds of it. I think he's had a bit of a long night, so I'll provide some much provided energy.
What he needs to get some iron brew in there. That's what we need there.
Aye.
Traditional drink iron brew. There you go.
Oh,
Iron brew.
Indeed. But yeah, this is a Break the Record Live. For those of you not aware, this is a 3-day event showcasing everything that speed running has to offer. We've got 7 of the top runners here of the Dark Souls Remastered All Bosses category, all trying to compete for a share of a $5,000 prize pool donated by our event sponsor, Kaspersky. And you'll see that all the runners here are currently, you can see the standings at the bottom of the screen. You can see their times and how much money they are earning. Right now, it is coming towards the end of day 1 here. It is late in the evening for a lot of our runners here. And we only have Nax at the moment. Currently 40 seconds behind their current run here, based on their PB, should I say. So they are currently behind their PB, but still ahead of their event time. Their event time right now is a 1:08:38, and they're currently on pace for around a 1:05 time. So still plenty of time saved. That's a good 3 minutes compared to their event time.
Yeah, I would say 104 is even doable here at this point, but he would have to play like quite a beast. But then again, it is Nax runabout. He is quite a beast, so I think it's doable.
Definitely. We've seen Nax pull a lot of good stuff there, as we say that in the pinwheels go, yo, what up? Pinwheels, please go away. Navigating the catacombs, of course. Very deadly area if you get unlucky with the AI just being mean. But coming to the quote-unquote hardest boss in the game.
Yeah, with a dark bead, this is definitely... I wouldn't even really call it a boss fight at this point. It's quite a pity fight, to be honest with you.
It's a glorified enemy with a health bar, isn't it?
I've seen people die to it, even in this route.
Yeah, if stranger things have happened, I can certainly relate to Duck
there. You get hit by a bone wheel or something beforehand. You don't enter the fight on full health, and then you just get blasted by a pinwheel after you've got the kill. I think actually it was someone killed pinwheel and then tried to heal afterwards, but got a shrug, so they were just stuck in place and then just got hit by the by the spell.
Yeah, it's one of those fights that looks, like a complete joke, like how you would ever die here. But if you don't get like the insta kill right away, like he can, start teleporting around, creating copies of himself and all that kind of stuff, and it can become quite an issue.
But we can find a way, to die to this. It's like,
Speedsouls community can find a way to die to absolutely anything.
I think someone's died to almost everything that you could in the route. So it's always good when someone finds something new, new discovery of terrible ways for a run to end.
Yeah, most communities are looking for new discoveries for glitches and tricks, but Speedsouls community is just finding new ways to drop dead to a boss.
Yeah.
Looking for that's never happened before moment. That's what we're searching for here. Hey, you never know. It's a marathon setting. We might see it come out.
Yeah. All right. So coming up to Nito is it's a pretty straightforward fight in the old bosses route. It's much scarier in like no wrong warp route, where you actually have to do like the melee fight, and then if you want to be fast, you have to do that with Red Tearstone Ring, and it's scary.
The melee fight with RTSR is tragic because of all the different skeletons that can be around. Like hidden body makes that a lot easier, and obviously keeping your distance. Another big issue with the Nito fight is it's convenient for RTSR setups, but it's one of the places in the game where it forces you to take damage when you jump into the arena, and they learned their lesson in the later games, like Dark Souls 3, for example, is a great example in the DLCs. But in this game, they didn't. So they will actually like force you to take damage, and you will just take that damage. So there is a lot of times where you could be playing casually, for example, and you'll be on low health, and you'll make it to the boss arena, and then just die to the fall damage without knowing that it's coming. There's a lot of places like that where forced damage is completely unpreventable, and that's what makes Nito considerably harder. Obviously, runners are aware it's going to happen, but it doesn't make it any less frightening.
They do it in both of the fights in their area. Like, you take some damage going into Pinwheel, and then you take more going into Nito. It's like...
Yeah, Stray Demon is another good example of that, where you're just running along, the floor breaks, and then you take half your health, and like there's nothing you can do about it. It's really silly.
Yeah. It's funny because it's like slightly less than half. It's actually like the setup in this is to just drop into the arena and quit out, and then drop again to take that just under half damage again, and that gives you
that is
RTS.
brilliant. Yeah, so like speedrunners have found a way to turn these kind of nonsense moments into actual strats.
Yeah, they figured out when they did Calamite, and they put a ladder in, but then we don't take the ladder because the ladder doesn't give us any fall damage.
Yeah, so when I was mentioning Dark Souls 3 earlier, in the DLC, there's a lot of places where you have to drop down, but they created like ash piles for you to jump into, and you don't take any damage. So it's good that they did learn their lesson. It only took like, I don't know, 5 years before they started implementing that kind of stuff.
I think the only sort of case of anything like that that I can think of is the Manus arena is a bit like that.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
In that you don't take any damage when you first land. It actually like basically puts on like some sort of god mode trigger when you land in there. It was funny that in one of the early versions of like the practice tool, the gadget tool, if you turned on no death, dropping into this arena would actually turn it off.
Oh,
and so
interesting.
it was like, why is it spooky that I turn on no death and then die to Manus? It's because the game used that same effect that the
so
tool
it just
was
flips
using.
the same switch. Yeah,
yeah, it just switched it off. So everyone would be like, why do we die? But yeah, I think he figured that out in later versions of the tool. But it was quite funny the first few times. And
yeah,
you thought you were safe, but no, Manus is spooky and can kill you even through that.
I would definitely argue, I'm not too familiar with the remaster route for Manus fight, but I would definitely say core bosses, he's definitely one of the most petrifying bosses in terms of, stature and difficulty. I would say Manus is definitely one of the most problematic bosses because you can lose a lot of time, like even disregarding how difficult he is casually, you can lose a lot of time if you get like what do you call it, like the rainstorm attack? You know which one I mean, where all the things come raining down from the sky.
The rain attack,
yeah.
You just have to run around, and it's just you just lose time.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can do about it.
He is not only difficult, but he also can stall a lot in the fight when you're trying to kill him. So it's definitely problematic.
Yeah, I definitely remember there's clips of Kamal doing like the Manus fight, and he gets like rain 3 times in a row or something. It's just like you run back. It's like, okay, I'll go to get an attack in, and then he just does it just again.
Nothing you can
do around
yeah.
and come back. And he just rains again. Yeah. Thankfully, most of the late game stuff that Knack still has to deal with is much more consistent.
Yeah.
Mostly because everything dies before it can really do a lot.
So, Duck, are you familiar with the routes? I saw that he does Priscilla early compared to Iron Boy. Is that faster, slower? Is it preference? I'm not too familiar with the different routes.
Yeah, so Iron Boy is kind of locked into doing Priscilla late because of what he does with Gargoyles earlier.
Okay.
So the sort of standard route that most of the runners are doing stuff based off, there's slight variations. I think Mintius is doing a slightly different route, and Iron Boy's doing a different route. But basically, you kill Gargoyles early, and then after ONS, you need to kill one of the bosses you can get to from Firelink, or at least that is near Firelink. Yeah. The reason you need to do this is because otherwise Logan, who you buy Soul Spear off, which is one of the main spells used in the route, he doesn't move to Duke's Archives, and you need him to move to Duke's Archives in order for Griggs to sell you a second set of Soul Spears, so you have 8 casts instead of 4.
Oh.
And so after you've done ONS, you need to pick like a boss that you can do that is near Firelink. So you basically have to choose between Gargoyles, who normally you've already killed, but that's what Iron Boy does. He kills Gargoyles later to make Logan move. Stray Demon, which is what most runners are doing. He's like one of the simplest bosses to do, and he's still pretty quick even with Great Heavy Soul Arrow when you've got 45 dex. Or you can do Capra and Gaping, which is what Mintius has been doing, which is what Olsku's PB actually does, which is basically the same sort of thing time-wise. Or you can do, then there are the ones that are definitely slower, which is like you can do Quelag, but then you have to take the Daughter of Chaos bonfire, and that loses you like a good 20 seconds or so.
Yep.
Or you can do Pinwheel, which you're just not going to do. That's probably a non-starter.
Yeah, it wouldn't make too much sense to go all the way down to Tomb and then...
Yeah, then you have to take the bonfire because...
Yeah, and come back because you don't have the Floodgate. Yeah. I mean, there's probably a golden Floodgate skip like there is in Dukes, but probably not worth it. It's not rooted in either way, so...
Yeah, there's a Floodgate skip for the one in front of Fire Sage, I guess, but you're not going to do that. So, yeah. Anyway, Nax just make his way calmly through all of the Izalith.
And Ashwin just got banned from the chat. I guess she's not coming back to host tomorrow. See you later, Ashwin. Thanks for coming.
Oh, saying Alt's name. That's a good one. So this, yeah. The Japanese speedrunner, Alt F4, apparently, by saying it, Ashwin got timed out. Something. I don't know. It's quite funny.
Good old fillers there. As we're running through sunglasses on, as the notes say. I love it. I was reading through the notes and there was all the memes in there as well. Very happy to see that Rave Lord Nito was still a thing. At least in the Fire Pause notes anyway. Someone remembers the old meme.
Anyway, just to finish the thing from before about the different bosses, essentially because the main route does Stray early, then you can do Gwendolyn Priscilla earlier. But if you've done Capra Gaping or Gargoyles early to move Logan and you don't do Stray until later, you still have to do Stray before Gwendolyn and Priscilla. So
yeah,
generally,
you need a doll.
Yeah, you do Stray in the group of Firelink bosses, and then at the end, you do Gwendolyn and Priscilla. So that's why that is in different places depending on the route.
Yeah, makes sense. So there's 2 or 3 routes that are around the same before you get into like the big time losses, like not doing kind of thing.
Yeah.
Alright, good to know.
Most people, I think, yeah, everyone in the sort of the top 4 at the moment is doing the same route now, and I think Gentoffer is doing the same route as well.
Which is Stray has his, to move Logan?
They all do Stray to move Logan, and generally do all of the same skips. Iron Boy does a slightly different route, as we said. He leaves Gargoyles. He doesn't do the Bandit Knife Gargoyles fight, so he just does that later. And I think Mintius actually, his route is from what Olsku did in Olsku's PB, but Olsku has now switched back to doing Stray. So it's,
which doesn't make it confusing at all for us podcasters who aren't familiar with Remastered but just have general game. Fantastic.
Yeah. All right, so no Firestorm, please. Nice.
You're a bit delayed, I think. Are you watching from the dashboard?
That's,
I keep swapping because that one's massive, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're on this thing of you as well.
I was going to say, he's already like he's already at Karth and you're like, no Firestorm? I'm like, Karth can Firestorm? What?
Yeah, I hadn't seen that, sorry, I'm a bit behind.
It's like we
I have both open and I just watched the wrong one because there's now only one run.
That's fair.
Yeah, now coming up to the final segment here. The question on our minds, obviously right now 21 seconds behind the current PB there, but still going to be a very nice event PB here. Still looking like going to shave off a potential 4 minutes on the event PB here. Doing some quick math in my mind here. Not quite going to be enough to take 3rd place, but definitely going to be a solid attempt at solidifying that 4th place time. So that 600 would be safe. But the other...
Assuming an optimal Gwyn fight. Sorry to interrupt there.
Oh no, definitely. Like you got to get that parry right. But the main question after this is, will Nax go for another run?
Yeah,
the only runner left to go. Still has plenty of time.
It'd start a lot later, being Canadian.
Yeah, exactly. He's been. I was saying before, he's been live for about 5 hours, and I was saying, after 5 hours of attempts, I'd be pretty tired, pretty burnt out too. But at the same time, when you only have a weekend, it's different. So I'd probably stick with it. Maybe take 10. Maybe go and get some snackies. Rehydrate.
As you do, yeah.
Scream into a pillow or something. Just let it all out, and then come back. Maybe that's what I do.
Frustration out. Yeah, no, I get that. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. This will be like a mid 105, assuming like an optimal Gwyn fight. So
let's find out. Here we go.
That's a really decent PB.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Nice and easy. Parry into beads, and gonna end the run here. When you really a nice thumbs up there as well. Nax knows that's an event PB. When the game finally fades out, 105.17 in total. That is a nice boost there from the 108 that he had. Good 3 minutes shaving off there. Not too far away from Alls there as well, actually. Only less than a minute.
Yeah, about 45 seconds off, and he can easily save that. Like you see on his splits, he's like almost a minute behind going into Capra. So Nax is not done anytime soon.
No, definitely not. And of course, Nax. I wonder if Nax is aware that it is a case of.
Yeah, does he know he's the last man standing?
The last man standing of the day, the first day. Of course, our runners will all be back tomorrow as well. They do have the ability to run as much or as little as they want during the days here. So we see a lot of our runners have called it quits early. Still technically around another 2 hours to go if Nax wants to go for another couple of attempts. We'll see what he does here. We'll all wait with bated breath. Looks like he might be going for another run here.
Yeah, he's setting up his saves, so it looks like it.
Oh, ho, ho. We got another run. Look, the pensiveness on the face there. Just,
considering he's teasing us.
Big smile on the face there as well. I wonder if he can hear us too. I wonder if he has the stream open and he's listening to us. It's like I can play on them a little bit now. We can see. Now looks like we're getting another run here. So fingers crossed that we managed to get past the few pitfalls here. We've seen a lot of the runners getting stuck on a few of the basically getting into that early game cycle. Where we see a lot of resets either towards the Taurus demon here. Sometimes
it's all Taurus, man. All Taurus. The boss is impossible. It is absolutely impossible. And especially when you only have like a couple of buffs to use, and you use them all optimally, like in that segment. If one thing goes wrong, like you're either gonna lose a huge amount of time, or you're just forced to reset essentially if you lose a resin.
Yes, it looks like we're going to get at least one more from Nax.
Indeed, indeed. So away we go again for the 16th time for Nax here. We got cool, fancy little data that we can see thanks to the tech setting up the event here. Nax has completed 2 full runs of the event here. So obviously the first no reset run, and now this run that has just completed, has attempted 16 in total. So 14 runs have died to various points here. We'll see if lucky run number 17 here will continue on.
Quite an interesting stat as well that I can see on my handy dandy dashboard is that most of his resets from his actual attempts are in the Gargoyle segment, which is essentially Taurus. Like anything up to Gargs, which is the first, 6 minutes? But his average attempt duration is actually 13 minutes long during the event. So he's definitely getting past those early segments more consistently here, because I guess he's playing safer, trying to get those early runs in rather than going for mass resets. So I'd be surprised if it took him a long time to get out of Sens. Well, at this point,
we saw Kata earlier suffering through Hellkite just not wanting him to get a run going. So hopefully we don't get that again.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
He says cursing the stream. Yeah, he had 3 instant kills from Hellkite in a row, so he was.
Do you know how many attacks that the Hellkite can do? There's quite a
I
few,
don't know
right?
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
pretty uncommon. So
it
to
can do like
get it 3 times in a row is pretty sad.
yeah, Hellkite can do like the sort of nice fire, which is where it all sort of lands behind you, and you can just get through. It can hit you with fire. It can jump down, which is always kind of spooky, but actually that works out fine.
Yeah, you can run around.
Yeah, or it can instantly kill you, which is the one you don't want. Like all the others, like some are better than others, but they're okay. But the instant fire that you just get like a nice ding, and that's
it.
Yeah.
Well, I've got some good news for you, folks. According to Nax is planning on going all the way through.
Oh, perfect.
All the way through to the end. So we have at least another 90 minutes at minimum. In 90 minutes time will be the no reset period. After the 1 a.m. Central European time, it will be the final run. If after that time, Nax resets, end a run. That's it. So hopefully we see maybe 2 full attempts here if these runs go all the way through to the end. Otherwise, 90 minutes, get a run going. So fingers crossed, we'll see what we get.
Yeah. So just just the usual early game stuff. Lower Undeadburg, Taurus, and then these are sort of like the early game gates. I guess things you've got to get past. That are your usual reset points. Part of why the gargoyle split is like, here are all the resets, kind of. Right off the bat.
I mean, you gotta wonder though, right? If you're playing a run like this and you get all your resets off early, like if these are all your heavy reset points, it's like, yeah, personally as a runner, I think it's better having them at the start of a run, so you're not wasting like, oh well, that okay, never mind. That's lots of fire bombs to the back there.
Yeah,
that's
well,
speaking of reset points,
another gate, early game. Like they're all, yeah, it's all early game. That's the heaviest.
Indeed. No, I really have to look back at this VOD in day one. Every time I've mentioned something about resets, somebody has reset. It's like, no, there's only one runner here. Do not do that. Like, come on. But yeah, no, it's like, as I was saying there, the train of thought is just having those resets towards the beginning of a run, like say the first third of a run, in my opinion, is better than getting all the way through, being on good pace, and then the last 10 minutes of a run, you've got this really bad trick that you have to try and do. And if you don't get it, that's it. Run's done. End. Because I feel like it's one of those things where you know it's coming up and you start to think about it too much and then not end up performing as well as you could. Maybe that's just a psychology thing. I have no idea. But what do you think about it? Do you prefer having these early resets, or would you rather they were spread out a bit more?
I think Duck is sorting out just some scheduling things right now. So,
yeah,
so we can get Regal on.
Repeating the question was helpful because I would not have known what you were asking.
Fair enough. No worries.
Some behind the scenes stuff going on.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Like on one hand, it's nice to not, have a heavy reset point really late. I mean, the first 20 minutes is where most of it is. But on the other hand, it can get really frustrating if you can't get out of the first few minutes, and if you're just, reset. You reset to one thing, and then okay, I've made it past Lowerberg, and then you get killed by the hollows at the door, and oh, I've made it past the hollows at the door, and then you get stomped on and shot at Taurus, and and you finally get past the next bit, and it's like,
And then RNG
okay, I've made
burns
it
you at the
past
dragon.
gargoyles.
You're like, what?
Yeah, and then I don't know, you mess up Sen's Gate Skip once you finally made it through all of that. Like, you do Sen's Gate Skip, and the way Sen's Gate Skip works is there's sort of two triggers. There's the one that gives you the death cam, which is what you want, and then there's slightly lower, the one that kills you, and you get through, and then you do the riposte. You're trying to rush it, trying to keep going, and you mess up, and you die to Sen's Gate Skip, and then it's like, oh great, I've got to do that first 10 minutes again.
Or even worse, when you just don't get the hollow to come after you, like he just doesn't run and chase you.
Yeah,
like,
just yeah.
A million things
slow
that can go
hollow.
wrong.
So that's more when you're I guess more when you're going for like record, when you're just trying to improve your PB. It's a little frustrating, but
well, this isn't break the
so
PB live, Duck. This is break the
Nah.
record live.
This is true. Although I think you could do it with a slow hollow, as long as the hollow does actually follow you.
As long as it's slow and not non-existent hollow, I think you'd be right.
Yeah, as long as you're not waiting there and just doesn't do the right, movements, right attacks to follow you quickly.
You're setting me up for it. I'm trying so hard not to make a pun here.
Go for it, lad.
I was just going to say, you could say the run was quite hollow then, wouldn't you?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, sorry, I'll see myself. But yeah,
Tough
but you've
crowd.
never heard that
Tough
one
crowd.
before.
Yeah.
Never heard that one before, eh?
Can we get to tech to
completely
mute Agate for us just for a bit? Cheers.
I'll do it myself,
Hello?
don't worry.
Right. Yeah, there's not really much left, I'm supposed to say, about the start of the run. It's like, we've seen it enough times at this point, but, you jump at this wall and quit out, which seems like there's a perfectly fine boulder that'll destroy the wall for you, but this is faster. And the fact that you just stand up and it breaks is kind of amusing in its own right.
As well, this was one of the only times where you had the kind of your sheer presence from loading in would just destroy walls in front of you. Now that actually happens in Sen's Fortress. I saw that earlier, first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really interesting strat.
There's actually another good one, is that the statue in front of that's blocking you from going to Gwendolyn early, you can actually jump at that from like one of those little plinths in front, and that'll get destroyed. You don't get, it doesn't, I don't know, I think it just disappears. It's not quite as fancy, but it's the same thing. And there's like random other stuff you can quit in front of, but none of it's useful in runs, sadly.
Anything that involves just demolishing geometry just by quitting out and loading back in is an A+ in my book.
Yeah,
big fan of that.
It's quite funny. So the wall they destroy in Sens, they have to do all this fancy jumping for, because obviously they must have known that you could do some of these things, and so the ground in front of it is unstable. And it doesn't normally save your position, and so you have to do like these little extra jumps to get it to save your position, like right on the bit of ground in front of the wall. But nice stretches across the whole of that room, so you can drop down to the side. And it'll break the wall that is in the middle of the room, even though you're at the side of the room. Unfortunately, you can't get back once you've dropped down there.
Oh dear.
So it's completely useless, but it is like really weird and kind of funny if you see it. Is that you can just jump down in one of these bits at the side, quit out next to the wall, and it breaks the bit in the middle. So yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll see if there's like a minor skip. I don't know if we've even mentioned what's this sort of Griggs dialogue skip.
Oh boy.
You open the door.
The PewDiePie skip.
Yeah, you knew what I was not saying.
Yeah. Found by PewDiePie. Can you believe it? Did you guys know that PewDiePie used to be in Speedsouls? That's how he got famous.
This is Ben's fabrications. Is that what we're at? we're doing.
Yep. PewDiePie was actually invited to be on Break the Record Live, but he couldn't make it, unfortunately. But we miss you, Felix. Come back to us soon.
Alright, so through the door this time. Hello.
No fire bombs this time.
Yep. We've got the resins, which actually now you use like all of them in this first gargoyle segment. One of them's kind of just used as like a safety, because it lets you kill one of the hollows in one hit. But you don't always have to. It's just kind of like a backup, but you don't lose time where you apply the resin, so... And you don't need any more, so you might as well just get rid of it. Right, so Taurus. This is always kind of an awkward fight. But, yeah.
Yeah, hug the
almost
leg.
all of your damage. Yeah. Almost all of the damage is coming from the resin as well. Like, the knife is doing very little of the resin is doing all of the legwork there. Alright, let's hope there's some good RNG here.
Dragon, please.
Get to the... Yeah,
Dragon, please.
dragon.
Safe.
Yeah, and he's okay. So that's like the nicest fire. You can just run under, you can pick up the soul. And like the entire reason for getting that soul is that it means you have something you can dupe on the next elevator kind of thing. Which is like, you know, otherwise you don't have anything to do there. And you need souls anyway, so that 800 is good for that. So, yeah, next. As you see, he's got resin on his knife, which is just for the hollow that can block him at the end of this segment.
Ooh, and blocked. Good parry, though.
And he does this. I don't think he intended to do the...
Yeah.
Oh, what? Did he get hit? Was that the
Something
thing?
hit him there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what hit him there.
Wait,
I don't think there's any projectiles nearby, right? So...
Yeah, so this is the hollow that you normally use the resin on. That one that just blocked him. Alright, so he's going into the gargoyles fight.
And we'll see how gargoyles
You
go.
should see the firebomb strat, I expect, which is... I think he's switching, getting mouse and keyboard to get the line up. Apply the resin, throw the fireball, and then roll in to trigger the fight. And hopefully... Yeah, you get the tail cut and the gargoyle gets pushed towards you, but even better, it turns away and attacks where the firebomb came from.
Ah, huge.
Yeah. Probably one of the best strats that's been found sort of recently for this. And yeah, that was a really good gargoyles. You can see, like, 9 seconds ahead. That's very nice.
Indeed, amazingly good fight there. And then coming up, what you were discussing earlier on there is we're going to the Valley of Drakes now. Gotta go get that Tearstone ring.
Yeah, and you're going to see the first dupe of the run.
This dupe is amazing. Like, at first, I reading over how this is actually done by overlaying the two UIs together is pretty insane. And then the fact that Remastered came out and just went, yo, you just use the brightness menu. It's like, oh, sweet, thank you.
It's pretty nice that they added that dialogue. Like in the original release, when you try and use an item, it just uses one. But they added the multiple use dialogue as like a quality of life thing in the remaster, which is what allows us to do this dupe.
Yeah, there aren't too many times where it really becomes a problem in Prepare to Die edition. But one of the biggest examples I could think of is stuff like, I think it's humanity that you have to give to the Daughter of Chaos, right? Like the Coven. And you can only give one at a time. And that is horrific. Like you have to give like 50 to get the spells. And to get like the achievements and such.
Yeah, it's
but
like,
yeah, on Remaster they fixed that. One of the nicer things.
4 or 5 minutes of just like offering one at a time in the original achievements route. You just stood there just offering and offering and offering. in remaster, it's just like, yeah, just take all of them, whatever.
Just have as many as you want. We've got plenty. But it's also just stars aligning that this quality of life change can just be super heavily abused as well.
Yeah. And this was something that, like, Kamal, who doesn't even own Remaster, found, because I guess he found it on, like, the drop menu and was like, I'm pretty sure this will work on the use menu.
Yeah.
This is like something he posted at, like, I don't know, it was 1 or 2 in the morning. I was like, can you try this? I'm going to bed. And then someone else tried it and it worked.
Just one of the usual nights of Kamal just adding to his 1,000 video long playlist of random Dark Souls discoveries that might become useful at one point, but aren't current. Bless him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that just allows you to go to Griggs and buy pretty much everything you could ever need. Just go shopping.
Yeah, no shenanigans required. You can just buy it.
Cheers for the rings, lad. Cheers for all the spells. Cheers for the catalyst. Cheers for everything. Poor Griggs has got nothing to sell anymore. He's got no purpose in life. He might just go holler.
Come on, next. I believe you can get the menu. Come on.
Yeah, there's only so much time on this elevator, Max. Let's go.
Yeah, thankfully it's a really long elevator.
Gets the dupe there. I think now that we've got a fairly long run between grabbing the ring there and heading over towards the Iron Golem, we're going to go take a quick 3-minute ad break here. We're also going to swap out some of the casters here. I believe we're going to be saying good night to you, Duck.
Yeah, I'm going to be saying good night. So good luck for the rest of the day, and good luck to Nax.
Good night, lad. I'll come and tuck you in soon. get your jammies on.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah.
No, thanks very much for joining us. Of course, it's not the end. We will be seeing you again tomorrow, and then again on Sunday as well. But we're going to go and run a quick 3-minute ad break with this wonderful top-down camera view that you can see at the moment. Go grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a snack. We will be right back.